Hello, this is Yo Sensei, and in today's session we are going to learn how to create files for 3D printing, and we will run several tutorials on creating a little flower vase. Okay, and so we're gonna get on to Rhino. Okay, do we have my face recorded on this? Let's see. Okay, so I have prepared a few different ways that this base can be used, can be made, and I will go over each step one by one. So the first one that I would like to do is this kind of zigzag pattern, and so this would be quite nice. It's going to be, this is a really interesting type of model in a way that you can only produce by 3D printing. So let's get to that. So first thing that I would like to do, as usual in the class, is that we would like to create a bounding box. So bounding box is going to give us the sense of scale for your model. So what we do is we go to box command, and create 2 inches by 2 inches by 4 inch box. Okay. And it's going to look like this: 2 inches by 2 inches by 4 inches. Okay. And for this box, we are going to do dupe edge command. So dupe edge, select the edge, and then delete the box. So now we have this on this line, which is good. And then we will change this into a bounding box layer. So you can create a bounding box layer. What can be also useful is to have center point in this box within the bounding box layer. So I would like to create a point object from the, at the midpoint of this. Okay. So that is that. Okay, moving into a new layer. Make sure you lock bounding box layer, and that's going to give you, you don't have to touch the bounding box. So now we will create something like this. So inside of the, on the top view, what we are going to do is to create a star shape. And this is under polygon, and there is a star option. Okay. So now you can draw a polygon. I'm going to turn grid snap off. And for number of size, you can do something like 20 size. And then you can draw this kind of zigzag pattern, which is really cool. And so now we have this. And so what you can do is you can copy this object 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And I like to get my top one to be on the box. So you can use a move tool to do that. So now, next thing that you do is to click on record history and loft command to loft between them, and make sure that the seams and the directions of the seams are aligned perfectly. Okay, so we have this. Good. So now what we can do is to manipulate the scale of my curves. But what happened now is that I actually accidentally did it as a straight sections. So what needs to happen is and So we are going to click on record history and loft. Run loft command. And everything is aligned, and change lofting style to normal. Okay. So then you can select, do not select the surface, but only select the curves that are creating this. So you can create this kind of, very organic and cool base design, which is quite nice. So what's even cool is you can even rotate some of the objects in this one to create a sense of twist. Ooh, super cool. Okay, and maybe going to reverse direction here. Yeah. That's very nice. So the tricky part is, in order for this thing to 3D print, it's going to have to be, it has to have thickness. So when I hide my surface, it looks like this, and we just have to create inside. So there are several ways that you can do it, but one way to do it is to create inside manually. So in this case, I can use this 3-point circle tool to create a circle for each piece that is going to be on the inside. So I will draw curves inside, okay, of all of them. And now the minimum thickness for the 3D printing is about 0.05 inch to 0.1 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run offset command for each, and I'm going to add 0.05 inch of thickness. Okay, so offset all of the lines inside. So then you have to align each curve with each piece. So make sure your project is on. Project for object snapping is on. And so now we can move this guy and to here. It'll be nice if they are all at the same height, except for one at the bottom, because we need to create a thickness. So let's move this here. So now, then for the inside ones, I am going to move the bottom one a little bit higher so that it's going to be a different height. Okay. So for the inside one, I'm just going to run loft command. To create this inside, and show command to show this. Okay, so now we have both inside and outside. So running planar surf command, planar surf command, we are going to close the box. So for this curve, we can run planar curve. And for the top one, they need to be perfectly aligned with each other. So if we select this curve and outside curve, you can run planar surf to cap this. So now this is all good. So you can select everything and type join. Okay, it broke the history, but it's okay. So one way to check if this object is 3D printable is that if it has self intersection. So what that means is that when the inside of the object becomes outside, like intersection. When inside of this is outside surface, right? And this is inside surface. And and 3D printer will know it's going to be in between these to fill with the solid. But when things start to intersect with each other, 3D printer won't know which one is inside and which one is outside. So what we do is we check if there is no self-intersection. So going back to Rhino, and then you can run clipping plane command. Clipping plane. Okay. So and then move this clipping plane along the way. So we have solid. We get some section that gets very, very thin, but we don't seem to have a self-intersection here. So I think that's good. So now this one is ready to go. And when you click on this file, check the property, okay? So it says closed solid poly surface, which is good. So we are ready to go on this one. Okay, let's try the next one. This one is somehow, it's more like a subtractive pattern of making. And we have really nice command called apply curve. So we're gonna try to get that. So on this one, what I would like to do is to go to your front view and draw a profile of your vase. So, it's going to be something like this, like that. And then you can record history and revolve, which is nice. And what's cool about this is that when you actually modify these curves, it didn't do that well. I actually accidentally moved it. So revolve again and revolve this. And when you have the history on, you can still manipulate the shape. And by manipulating the base curve, you can create a pretty cool form exploration. Yeah, this is kind of a cool shape. Okay, so I have this shape. Okay, so what apply curve command is going to do is that you can apply pattern onto this, which is really cool. So you can come up with this kind of pattern or different pattern. Okay, to do this kind of pattern, it's very important that you know overall length of the height of this space and kind of average length in this space. So what I can do is there is a ISO curve here. So when you type length, it's going to give you, and then click, and then it's going to give you the number. It's about 4.1 inch because bounding box is 4 inch, so that's good. For the circumference of the middle part, I would like to just project this line onto this surface and then get the length. So the length of it is about 4.9. So the proportion of my pattern on the flat is about 4 by 5. So I'm just going to draw 4 inches by 5 inch flat drawing here. So you can do like whatever the pattern that you want. You can like draw it with circles or you can do more elaborate pattern as you want. But I'm just going to show you a very simple way of doing this, and so that you can, you know, experiment with what you do later. Okay. So I have something like this. So now the command is apply curve. Okay. So click on this. Rhino is going to ask for curve first, and then the surface to apply to. So I click on this, and then the pattern is applied onto this. Super cool. So after that, what we can do is you can just click on this, and then type split, and then split with this. Oh, one thing that you need to know is that when this applies curve, it will apply this pattern, but it will also apply this box onto it. And this box is something, it's like this, and you don't need it for other things. So let's just take it out. You can just run trim command, trim, and then click on this, and then cut it out. Or you can run split command. So I'm going to click on this, split, and split with these. And so now I have Vase with this kind of thing. It's very nice. Okay. Again, we need to add thickness to it. So click on this, and sometimes the split command wouldn't work. And so multiple reasons for that is the curve is not closed, or complex geometry is a little bit too complex. So if that happens, just do it one by one. Then that may help. Okay, so offset surf command to click on this, and distance should be 0.05 inch. I'm gonna go outside. Okay, so now I have a really nice, vase with this kind of cutout pattern. It's probably good for dry flower. Okay, so number 3 is facets, and this is also a very simple type of vase, but having this kind of like really cool and sharp edge is pretty nice. So to do this, instead of revolving, we are going to use array polar command. So we are going to start with this kind of straight line. Okay. And for this one, we will go to the top view, and I'm just going to move it to the middle part. Okay, and oops. And instead of revolving, I am going to run array polar, and center point is here. Number of objects 5, and 360 fill. Okay, so it just copied this kind of thing. And now what we can do is it's a little bit kind of. So loft everything, closed loft, and straight sections. So I get this. That's nice. So now instead of lofting, what I'm going to do is to create a triangulated facets. So in between turn off project, and in between each, I am going to draw a line and diagonal line between here, line, diagonal line, horizontal line, diagonal line, and then horizontal line. Okay. So this way, I am going to be able to make each face. So click on, you have to explode these straight lines. So explode them into straight lines. And I can turn off history for now. So now I'm going to create triangles by creating edge surf. Edge surf. So I have these triangulated faces. Okay. So now what you can do is select all of the facets array polar on the top view 5 times, and you have this space with triangles. But at this point, they don't have movement, so the surface is looking pretty flat. So what we're gonna do is we can turn off all of the curves by cell curve, select curve, SELCRV, and hide. Okay, and then we can actually join all of the faces. Okay, like what we did with faceted mask, we are going to select each edge by holding Control and Shift key. On Macintosh, it's Control and Shift key, and then no. Yeah. So it is. It doesn't work for some reasons on the perspective view. I mean rendered view, but it's a Command Shift, or on Windows it's Control and Shift and drag to select. So if you start rotating objects, it's going to create this kind of faces, which is really cool. So you can, select these faces, no, the edges only, and this is going to give you this sense of facets, which is nice. Or maybe more. Okay, so that's quite nice. And I can check this on rendered view. So I have really nice facets. So I can do is I'm just going to join everything. Oh, it is already joined. And oh, okay. Well, offset surf and going outside 0.05 sharp corner solid. So offset surf does have issues. So it kind of gives you this kind of broken edges, and that is not good. So to make this kind of polysurface solid is so offset mesh command is offset surf command is going to create a bad result. So in that case, you can actually mesh this object already, which you're going to have to do it later anyways. So type mesh, and so there it created a mesh object in the same location. So what you need to do is you have to select a mesh object. Oops. Mesh object, and move it away. Oops. Move it out of the way. And then offset mesh command, and 0.05 increment 0.01 solid delete input mesh. So this is going to create a pretty good solid mesh, mesh solid, which is, we're gonna have to convert it to mesh anyways for 3D printing. So that's useful. Okay, the next one and the last one is going to be the additive methodology using flow along surface command. So this is super cool. So what happens is that you can create this kind of surface, and then you build something on the flat, and then it will be applied to this. So that's really cool. Okay, so I guess let's get to it. So in the front view again, you can draw a curve. So when you're doing this, make sure that it is one continuous smooth curve. Okay, if you do it with faceted line on this one, it's not going to work. So make sure that this is done in a smooth curve. Okay, and then we revolve to get this kind of shape. Okay, so now what we can do is to maybe we can unroll surf. Sure. No. Smash. Okay, so smash command is forced unroll. So if you do smash, we can understand kind of overall proportion of this object. So we can use you know, about this kind of surface. Okay, so now that is good, and then so this needs to be actually surface. So we're gonna change it to planar surf. Okay. And on this one, we are going to create, let's see, cone. Okay. So create a cone object, keep it small, and what we would like to be actually perfect on this thing. So what we are going to do is to make it a little bit smaller. Be on the corner. Oops. Project needs to be on again. So be on here. And they actually need to be overlapping a little bit. So copy the first one and then copy from the next one at the same location. Okay, something like that would be fine. And then we are going to copy everything again to be overlapping. So copy the first one, then get the same distance from each other. And copy it continuously. So now what we need to do now is to readjust the size of the base surface to be middle point. So scale 1D to click on the first point and second point, and then adjust it to this size. And then the base surface needs to be in the middle of this. Okay, so but we actually still need to perfectly cut off all of the outside edges of this. So what you can do is to create a 3D box here. Okay, and then we can Boolean split the all these cones. Okay, so select all of them except for this, and run Boolean split, and with this box. So then outside of this is all deleted. Okay, so we are ready to go. So now we are going to run command called flow along surface. So type flow along surface. Then you can select, that's gonna hide this stuff. Flow along surface and select all of my cones. And then Rhino is going to ask for base surface, which is this base. Okay, and then tangent surface select edge near matching corner. So that would be the target surface. Okay, so when you click on it, it will make this apply this pattern into this. Sometimes I find it really ugly, this top, and then you will get rid of the base surface. So it's going to be cool for all of these. I sometimes find it really ugly to have this kind of piece. So maybe you can get rid of it. You know, it's really up to you. But this is, you know, and then you can really play with the pattern of it, however you want, whatever the shape you want them to be. Okay, so so now we have made a few of them. Okay, and what I want you to do is work on each, and at the end of this session, we will share, you know, I will ask you guys to show the ones that you made later in the class. Okay, so that will conclude this session of making faceted base.